Alright guys, and happy Halloween. This is a long play review for Ghosts and Goblins on the Amstrad CPC. And some interesting box art there. Released by Elite Software in 1986. And then later re-released on their Encore budget label, which is when I got it. Now there's already a couple of long plays of Ghosts and Goblins on the Amstrad on YouTube. But I've kind of waited a long time to do this one, and seeing as it's Halloween, I wanted to give this a review. So here it is, and of course this is a conversion of a very famous arcade game released by Capcom in 1985. And seeing it is, as usual, with arcade conversions to the Amstrad, we'll take a quick look at the arcade original for comparison. And here's the intro sequence. God knows why you'd take your girlfriends to the graveyard, unless you're a goth wanting to have sex on gravestones and stuff. Weird. And so Satan or Lucifer's run off with your girlfriend, and poor old King Arthur has to dash off and rescue her. And in one of the most difficult arcade games ever, very, very notorious for its difficulty level, certainly by the later stages. And also, if you, just to add insult to injury, if you actually complete the game, it tells you it's all a trick and you have to replay the entire game again on a high difficulty level, finding a certain special weapon to actually finally beat the game. Very annoying, but still great fun. And actually the first time I ever saw this game was actually on an episode of Neighbours, an Australian TV soap opera that was very popular in the UK. Does anyone remember Neighbours and Todd from Neighbours getting an addiction to this game? And his uncle Paul Robinson had to go and take him to the arcade and just feed him coins until he actually finally beat the game and got the high score or something. I just remember seeing that, thinking the game was cool, and secondly, I wish I had an uncle like that. Anyway, so this is just the first level of Ghosts and Goblins completed, pretty much. Notice that we've lost our armour in our pants, and there was a weapon pickup just a few seconds ago, the sort of the flame weapon, and it's absolutely rubbish. But make a note of those things, and also sort of the graphical style and music and how it plays, because we're going to start looking at the Amstrad version now. And there it is from Elite Software. Quite a lot of information I've found about the Amstrad version of the game. Well, I can tell you that work was actually started on this game on the 1st of June 1985 and finally released in March of 1986. And it sold around 30,000 copies, estimated anyway. Very nice loading screen there. And lots and lots of information in this game available from the Pickford Brothers website, which is z-3.com. As you can see there, the graphics are by Steve Pickford. The Pickford Brothers are a very famous sort of brotherly programming team that's been programming right up till these days. Actually, I think they're doing indie games, and I'll give you a link to their website so you can read a bit more information about this. And also, programmer Nigel Alderton also did the excellent Commando conversion. But anyway, let's start this off. And just like, listen to that music, guys. First of all, first off the bat, I absolutely love this music. In fact, I think it's probably one of my favourite Amstrad CPC soundtrack music in any game. Absolutely love it. I think it's better than the arcade original. And I think it's better than all the other versions. The Commodore 64 had some really excellent music, but I think this is so funky and so creepy and suited to the game. By the excellent David Whittaker, as always. He's one of the best music programmers on the Amstrad and 8-bit systems. But yeah, lots of zombies rising out the out their graves and out the ground. Very, very cool. A nice looking graphics, if a bit simplistic and blocky. Backgrounds are rather basic, but they kind of do the job and give a decent amount of atmosphere to the game. Now the sprites generally move really nice and smoothly and really quickly, but of course you probably noticed the pseudo flip screen scrolling, which is pretty smooth and fast. Oh, by the way, we encounter the gargoyle later on in this level compared to the arcade original. He sort of appears before the floating knights. But yeah, the scrolling is a bit of a weird one. It's not true scrolling, but it's not absolute flick screen scrolling, but it's sort of in between. It's very rare I've seen that in a game. Here's the first end of level boss. I'm just being cautious of that flying ghost. This ogre's not too hard to defeat. There we go. And already on to level 2. Same music repeats, but damn, the music is so good. Who cares? But yes, this scrolling is accomplished by sort of using a CRTC trick. The CRTC, in very, very simple basic terms, is kind of like the Amstrad's graphic chip, and it's kind of abusing the chip really, or hacking it. I'm not really a Amstrad programmer to sort of really describe it in detail correctly, but it's a special technique used to sort of almost get hardware scrolling, because the Amstrad did not have any hardware scrolling at all. Well, technically, but it is kind of possible by hammering the CRTC chip here. But, and it works quite well because sort of any sprites are also moved with the screen moving. However, something could be waiting on just on the other side of the scroll and could lead you right into trouble. So it's not perfect, but very cleverly found by the programmer Nigel Alston. They also use a very clever technique in Commando for the scrolling by just scrolling the playfield objects rather than the whole screen all the time to achieve like smooth playability. Oh yes, and occasionally here guys, if you kind of move to the far right on the lower level and then go up here, sometimes you might get the ogre or beast that's appear there to the right hand side, so you can defeat him before having to go down the stairs later on. Unfortunately he didn't appear that time. You can try and get him to spawn. Never mind. But yes, first of all guys, you have to bear in mind this is very, very early on in the Amstrad's life. Amstrad CPC was released in 1984, I think it's June of 1984, and a year later this game started, so programmers hadn't mastered how to really utilise the Amstrad and sort of like real scrolling in games. I don't think any of it. I don't remember any of the games before Ghosts and Goblins actually having scrolling anything like this, and I can't remember any other games actually since using this scrolling technique, apart from maybe Smash TV when you move between levels. But there you go. So it's actually a very good programming job, but obviously if you've never seen an Amstrad CPC game in action before and you come to watch this video because you're a Ghosts and Goblins fan, you may be like pretty, you know, this looks and plays really crap, but this is very, very early days in programming on the Amstrad, so you do have to take that into account. So we're on to level 3 here, and you notice we're getting very close to the end of the video, and so sort of spoiler alert here. The arcade original had 6 levels, and then you had to repeat them through again. I'll say now that this is the last level on the Amstrad version. There's only 3 levels in the game, and then the game just repeats over continuously and doesn't repeat in difficulty. I have played it through at least two times through to the end, and it just repeats again and again and again. So unless you have to do it 3 or 4 times in a row. There's no ending to this game, guys, so rather disappointing. But then again, there was only 3 levels in the Specky version, and it looks and plays a lot worse than the Amstrad one, in my opinion, and has no music whatsoever. Commodore 64 version has 4 levels. I think it has the moving platform and sort of fiery bridge level before ending on this one like the Amstrad version. For the Commodore 64 version, I think it had sort of smaller sprites. Doesn't look quite as good as the Amstrad version in my opinion, but some may disagree. Had really excellent music, but again I kind of prefer the music in the Amstrad version. But the main problem with the Amstrad version, guys, is like when you do get hit, you're supposed to basically lose your suit of armour and run around in your pants. No, on the Amstrad version it's basically instant death and you lose a life. So big minus points for that. Also, no special pickups, there's no special weapons, you're just stuck with your javelin throughout the game. So yeah, another big negative. But here we go, guys, this is essentially the final boss. And that's basically Ghosts and Goblins done. So I'm just going to show you how, you know, there's no time limit in the game either, so you can just, like, for example, sit here and just rack up points to get a good high score. But yeah, this is some of the best music I've ever heard in an Amstrad game. I absolutely love this, and it gets a higher score because of the music. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. I do like this a lot, but major negative points for only being 3 levels, no running around in your pants, and no special weapon pickups. But still a brave effort for an early days. So 7.5 out of 10. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a happy Halloween, and I will see you on my next video, which will be Ghouls and Ghosts, the sequel. Alright, guys. Cheers. Goodbye.